Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Wednesday, June 10th, 2026. Let's get in the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, Thune who? Trump leaves the majority leader out in the cold. Number two, Trump's $1.5 trillion Pentagon dream unravels. And number three, heading for the exit. Lawmakers are ready to leave the House, but their statewide efforts are falling short. All right, Jake, let's get into it. It's a terrific edition this morning for Punchbowl News.
I'm glad you said that.
You know, I just try to give people their flowers.
Yeah, that's leadership, Anna.
Right,
Thank you.
there. Yes, thank you. All right, no, but seriously, it was really great. I thought this top this morning, super smart look at how Senate Majority Leader John Thune increasingly has problems with this White House, but President Donald Trump, his allies, are going to Speaker Mike Johnson to try to fix them. The relationship, the give and take, it's not nasty. Like, you don't have people, they're not fighting between, on X or kind of sending barbs. But it's almost as if the relationship, Trump's kind of ghosting Thune at this point.
It does feel like that. And the two examples are pretty stark, right? When Trump was looking to coordinate with Hill Republicans last week over the anti-weaponization fund, he called Speaker Mike Johnson to the White House, not Thune. Yesterday, again, Johnson met with Trump at the White House amid an impasse over FISA Section 702. And the situation, this impasse, was because Trump nominated Bill Pulte, a complete neophyte in the intelligence space, to be director of national intelligence. These are Senate problems. These aren't House problems.
Right.
I mean, they might eventually become House problems, but they're Senate problems. And we went back and forth about this a lot over the last couple of hours, the last, whatever, it's quarter of five, so the last 14 hours. And a few things kind of stick out to us. First of all, the president just has a better vibe with Johnson. That's quite clear. But Thune has to say no to Trump a lot.
Yep.
A lot. No, he can't blow up the filibuster. No, he can't end blue slips. No, he can't pass Save America. No, he can't stop Republican senators from bashing the anti-weaponization fund. No, he won't fire the parliamentarian. Just no. And I think the filibuster is a huge part of this, right? I think it's gotten to the point where Thune is no longer a useful interlocutor with the president. I think that's kind of it. And Johnson has just a much better vibe with him. Johnson's conference is much closer to Trump than the Senate Republican conference, and the House has different rules. And it's just a much better dynamic. What do you think?
I mean, listen, I think it's interesting in so much as when the president was, elected to the second term, there was this kind of, question out there, right? How is John Thune going to handle a second term with President Trump? They had done a bunch of rehabilitation. And I think that they have, in the first couple of years, when things were a little bit easier, Republicans were much more in line, particularly in the Senate, to move forward the Trump administration's agenda and confirm people fast, right? I mean, all of these things that they were doing, it was a lot easier. Now there's more tension. Trump doesn't like to be told no. I mean, full stop. And that is the role that the Senate and the Senate Republicans are playing now. And John Thune has to do member management, right? Not just the members who are trying to get reelected. He's got to figure out how to contend with these members that are on their way out. And some of them are certainly not inclined to help the administration on a variety of these issues. And so it's interesting to see. I mean, the big question is ultimately going to be, though, as much as the president might like talking to Speaker Mike Johnson, that doesn't get the job done in terms of actually getting his agenda passed.
That's right. And by the way, we don't get into this much in the top, but again, it's Wednesday. FISA expires Friday. They are no closer to a solution here. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised to see the House Republican leadership move a clean FISA bill, or try to move a clean FISA bill in the next couple of days here. I don't know how they would do it. I don't think they can go to the Rules Committee. I don't think they could. They definitely can't get it on suspension. So this problem is not going away. And the legislative problem is quite acute.
All right, Jake, that's one of the number 2 story of the morning. A really great item by Anthony and Brianna, looking at how the president's desire for this $1.5 trillion in military spending is vanishing. And honestly, at this point, they report that he's going to be lucky if he gets half of that. There is disagreement across the board. You've got Senator McConnell and Susan Collins coming out saying that there's just no way forward when it comes to the president's ask here. The House is in a different place. They're trying to move forward. But I mean, time is of the essence.
Yes, it is. The risk with asking for a massive, 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 massive Pentagon number is that if it failed, they wouldn't get half of it. But we are now heading very quickly toward a stopgap funding bill at the end of the fiscal year. And that's not good. John Hoeven, here's a great quote from John Hoeven. Lawmakers better think, he didn't say lawmakers, but that's in brackets, better think pretty long and hard because they're going to see real ramifications in their state if we don't do something beyond a CR at $890 billion that they had last year. We've been for weeks now saying that the appropriations process was breaking down. It is breaking down. It is not great. And yesterday, Mitch McConnell and Susan Collins stated openly what many have assumed privately, that a third reconciliation bill is not going to happen. We've been very bearish about a third reconciliation bill getting signed into law. Maybe it does happen. Doesn't seem like it at this point. And Mike Rogers, the Armed Services Committee chair, says he disagrees with McConnell and Collins. That might not matter, but a great item from Brianna and Anthony on the status of things with the Pentagon.
All right, let's go to the number 3 story of the morning. House members stumbling statewide. Max Cohn. Notice this trend line, which is very interesting, right? There's kind of this tried and true House members of both parties get into office, be there for a couple years, and then they look elsewhere for employment, oftentimes for trying to find a pathway forward on statewide elections. But man, this has been a rough cycle. Just yesterday, Representatives Nancy Mace and Ralph Norman, both Republicans from South Carolina, failed to advance to the South Carolina gubernatorial primary runoff. Last week, you had Dusty Johnson in South Dakota, Randy Fenstra in Iowa, losing their GOP primaries for governor, Chip Roy in Texas. I mean, the list goes on. There has been some that have been successful, but there's just a number that on both sides, Democrats as well, Jake, that have really struggled to get momentum beyond their district.
Yeah, House is not doing too well in statewide races, and that was highlighted last night by the Mace-Norman duo, or not duo, but Nancy Mace and Ralph Norman were not able to advance to a primary runoff in South Carolina. There's just a whole host of them, but there are a bunch of also primary results last night. Which we should go over. Graham Plattner easily won the Senate nomination in Maine with 72% of the vote. Democratic primary in Maine's 2nd District, too close to call. Joe Baldacci had a narrow lead over Jordan Wood and Matt Dunlap. And Lindsey Graham advanced the general election and will face Democrat Annie Andrews in South Carolina, which has been reliably red for everybody, but especially for Graham. And Marty O'Donnell won the Republican nomination to take on Susie Lee in Nevada. So a big primary night last night in several states across the country. So that is where we are.
All right, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media, tell your friends. It's the best way to find out about us. And of course, you can go further on all these stories and more by going to punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.